I have in my hand the Stanley full motion curved TV mounting bracket. It supports TVs from 32 inches all the way up to 65 inches, and it's available with free delivery directly from freetv.ie. Now, we decided to add on a brand name bracket here simply because when we saw the build quality that Stanley were offering us, it's superior to anything that we've seen from other suppliers. And also, if people are investing a lot of money in very expensive TVs, they want to buy a quality bracket that will be both easy to assemble, easy to use, and it'll support both the motions and the support for their TV. This particular bracket can support TVs up to 45 kgs. And in terms of the tilt angle, it can support 2 degrees up or 12 degrees down. And I'll show the motion on this earlier, but how easy and quick it is. When it's fully compressed back like this, it's almost flat on the wall. It's sticking out less than 3 centimeters directly off the wall, so it's extremely impressive. And so what I'll do here is I'll give an overview of exactly what comes, and then we'll give an overview of the flexibility and the features we have in terms of how we'll add a TV on and what we'll assemble first, etc. So this is the outer box here, so it's strongly branded with Stanley on it. We can see a picture of it fully assembled here, and we can see actually in this image here where it's pressed directly back on the wall. So it's almost directly flat on the wall. If we go to mount it directly onto the wall, we'll see there's a pack here with both plugs and screws here. So it's a total of 6. So normally we'll be mounting 3 on the bottom, 3 on top. If we just remove this plastic cover here, which is aesthetics, we'd actually see that there's a series of holes along the bottom and a same on top, which we can use for mounting it on. So what we'll be doing is we'd simply remove this during the assembly process, and then we just clip it back on. It gives nice aesthetics, just a plastic finish on it. When we're putting on the extension arms here, we use these plugs and bolts for doing so. And then when we actually go to mount this on, you can see we have a set of bolts here, and there's 3 different sizes, and it's depending on the size of the actual television we're going to be bolting into. It's all based around the VISA standard, so it's an international standard of where the spacing holes for mounting a bracket onto a TV are on the back of the TV. It's standard right across. It's based on hole centre distance. We have spacers here, which are quite handy, particularly if you're using curved TVs for able to mount directly on. And then we have some tools then from the spirit level to actually adjust, get the setup on the bracket right. And then we have an Allen key and some spanners, which we can use for coming along and adjusting the bolts, etc. to come with it. Just put it back into position. So I'll move to the main event now. I might just move this plastic cover for a moment. And we'll see on the top here, it's actually branded Stanley. Okay. And if I actually come along here and I want to just extend this out fully, that's a little bit funny when we no resistance behind, but I'll just try to do it in a fairly typical way. And what we have here is we have the ability then to extend the TV out. And what we have, if we tip this over here, we have a tilt angle here, so we can tilt this down 12 degrees or up 2 degrees off, okay? So there's good flexibility in range of that. Now when we actually come along, what we'd normally do is we'd come along and we'd mount this directly onto the wall using the brackets top and bottom, and then we can come along and at that point then we could mount this bracket here directly onto the back of the TV. So if we're using, we'll say, a smaller TV, we can see here that the VISA hole standard here is 100 by 100, and it spreads out to 200 by 200. So that's basically the spacing in between the holes. We'll say are this one in this case is 100 millimeters to center, 200 millimeters. These particular ones support 600 by 400. So if we actually come along, we have an option bolting this bracket on using the screws and bolts, or nuts and bolts I showed earlier. It'll give a flush finish on it in terms of the bolt. And what we can have here is the distance from here to here would be 400, and from this point to the corresponding point on the far side, if we bolted on this bracket, on the far side would be 600. Now often you won't need to use these, and you'll simply get away with using the smaller one, which makes the overall assembly process extremely easy. So I'll just tilt this forward here. You can just see here that if I go to drop this on here, there's an up sign on it and there's 3 bolts in the back. What we can do is we can line this up here on the 3 holes at the side. We can drop it in and we can bolt it and lock it into position like that. Okay, and that if we had our TV pre-mounted on it, we'd be able to drop it in and have it locked in directly in terms of that. And then we'll say when we have it locked onto the thing, we can simply push on the television itself and it'll actually push the TV back onto the wall or grab it and pull it directly out again. So overall the design of this, it's just very, very slick. The size range that it's on is very much for the higher end TVs. Up to 65 inches is where it is. In reality, probably we could go higher than that. The max point there obviously is the maximum weight it can support. So 45 kgs is no problem to it. So it's part of a much wider range of TV brackets we have, both in the Stanley range, but also we have a very large other range, from ceiling mounted to shelving to flat TVs to cantilever brackets, etc. So we really have it, and all of them are available with free delivery directly from freetv.ie.